Hi, Vernon. Welcome to Thursday at the end of our week. It's April 8th, 2020, around 6 o'clock. And I just wanted to spend some time with you and talk about all the things that have happened in the last couple of days. We've had board meetings, we've had committee meetings, but our teachers continue to soldier on, doing all the great work that is part of their profession. I want to thank them for all that they have done. I also want to thank the parents and pay tribute to you for all that you have done as our partners to make sure our children are educated. And to our kids, congratulations, you're through this week. We've got 4 days off. Let's celebrate by maybe not doing school, but being together with our families and trying to appreciate all that we do have in this time of being secluded. So there's a couple of important things that I wanted to talk about today, just so you had that information out there. The state has issued a couple of important announcements. They send them out to us. They're called broadcasts. And in those broadcasts, they let us know what will be canceled, what has been waived, etc. So for our teachers and for our parents, I need you to know this officially, that there'll be no New Jersey testing. And I'm sure you've heard this. No New Jersey testing of the language arts, which is the NJSLA, and then the NJSLAM, which is the math. There'll be none of that testing this year. So that means that there'll be no MSGPs for our teachers. So for our teachers, of course, this means that there'll be no data collected based on the testing, which we usually collect in grades 3 through 8, and then sometimes with math in 9th grade, language arts in 9th grade and 10th grade. There'll be none of that towards teachers' evaluations, which the next step for the state to do, they got rid of the SGOs as well. So that came through basically yesterday and today in the last 24 hours. So we just wanted to make sure that information got out to our teachers as well. All observations that have been done on our teachers will be done as of March 18th, and there'll be no further observations as well. For our high school seniors that are worried about graduation because they had to go through the portfolio process due to the fact that the testing results weren't where they needed them to be, there'll be no portfolio reviews for our students in danger of not graduating, so they will graduate naturally with their class. I wanted all those students that were concerned about that graduation piece to know that that had happened as well. There'll be no testing in science, the NJSLS, which is the results that I sent you from last year just this week. There'll be no testing this year for the science. And then finally, for our students who are in the AP classes up at the high school, it's very important that you know that the AP exams have changed completely. They are no longer the 3.5-hour to 4-hour tests that would happen in half days in May and June up at the high school. Instead, they will be 45 minutes and online. The AP teachers are all aware of this and have been talking with their students or letting their students know. But this means that there's drastic cuts in what will be tested as opposed to what won't be tested. So it's very important that all of this information gets out to you so that you have it. So the next thing I wanted to show you, which is important coming from us, is that the Genesis portal will open next week. So we have Easter Monday off. On Tuesday, April 14th at 9 a.m., the Genesis portal will open so you can view your child's course selections for next year based on the prerequisites, which they need to take, based on the surveys of the students, which they wanted to take, and based on teacher recommendations on what the teachers feel your students can do. So when you log into Genesis on April 14th, from a computer, you will see the scheduling tab, which is over to the right there. Click on that and you'll be able to view the courses that your child has chosen or have been chosen for them. If you're reviewing the Genesis from your phone, you'll see a drop-down menu that looks like this on the right. Please click on the scheduling tab and then you would view the courses. Just give you a sense of what that would look like. Now, please note that the courses listed are not guaranteed, but will be prioritized based on availability, need, and successful completion of this year's courses. So this is particularly important at the high school level. At the high school level, if your child has earned a 69% or below for their final grade at the end of the third marking period in any course, you'll be receiving a letter from us, actually from the administration of the high school, which we sent out, thanks to Ms. Goodenkoff and Ms. Brach, my secretary, was sent out yesterday. And that lets you know about the credit concerns we may have had with your child being in danger of losing academic credit. But as these things are posted, please feel free to reach out to your child's school counselor if you have additional questions. The scheduling tab will be open from April 14th through the 24th. So there's 10 days to view the schedule as we proceed. So I wanted you to be aware that that's happening on Tuesday. So on Tuesday at 9 o'clock, that will be available to you. So we have a lot of things going on. We have the things that are not happening at the end of the year. There's concerns about all the things that could happen towards the end of the year, and we're waiting on the state. But as you heard from Ms. Davino this morning, we're now pushed back past April 30th. And for those that are paying attention to the news, you know that local states are going to close for the rest of the year. So we're dealing with all that, but we wanted to make sure that you knew that we were continuing to move towards next year. In that same vein, for our youngest students, kindergarten registration, we are ready for you at Cedar Mountain. It isn't just a building, it's our family. That's their motto as we go through the coronavirus pandemic. But we're delaying kindergarten registration until the first week of June. In the week leading up to this, I'll broadcast how we're going to do it, where we're going to do it, and when it would take place. So I'll give you the hours, the time, and whether we're doing it online or we'll be able to, by the first week of June, be able to do that in one of our buildings or an outdoor space. Oftentimes, the process of registering for kindergarten gets complicated or confusing for some of our families, and they need some help getting through the process. And we often do that right at Walnut Ridge, and if people have questions, we answer them for them. We put them on the computers there, and we get them through the process a lot easier than if they had to do it on their own. However, that might not be the case with us in a shutdown mode or a remote mode. But we'd like to delay this as long as we possibly can so that maybe we can get to the point where we can have our best folks helping you out to do that personally. So wait to hear more from me in June. All right, let's get to some of the great things that have happened in the last couple of days. Mr. Wilson's class at Lounsbury Hollow had their science projects due, and we have this montage of great pictures of these science projects. It is wonderful to see the amount of work that has gone into some of these. And while I know storage space is important to all families, maybe these are the historic artifacts that we should keep from this time period to say, oh yeah, that was then when the pandemic was on, because these are really important memories. I had to do a Thomas Dolby recognition there. The young ladies blinding us with their science. And again, these projects are great. Congratulations to Mr. Wilson and all the fine work that they're doing in that science class. In Rolling Hills, it was Spirit Week. So we see all sorts of pictures coming out of Rolling Hills for their Spirit Week. They could dress with their school uniforms or their favorite teams or artwork. So we saw all of these things. I think they had a pajama day. They had a superhero day. There was a reading day. So I thought I'd share some of the pictures. The Spirit Day, the class of 2030, and of course the cheer and the reading. So great job, Rolling Hills. It was nice to see. And I've got one more picture here. Yeah, of the artwork. And this young man with the plant on the side, we wanted to make sure that we spotlighted him and all of his great pictures. I have a couple more of his that I'm maybe going to include in some upcoming podcasts. And of course, this young lady doing her beautiful artwork. And then I think they become like stained glass and hang them in the windows. We started with that look in the first picture in the first slide, the idea of us being inside, reaching out to the community outside with our V's, our rainbows, and all of our beautiful work. Speaking of beautiful work, the first grade artists from Cedar Mountain. Thanks very much to Cedar Mountain for this and this montage of great work. Students doing their artwork and including nature, and also doing sort of like architectural drawings, 3D drawings. This is a terrific opportunity to take a look at what our youngest are doing as well. It is hard for me not to be emotional when I talk about my friends who are working hard as teachers and counselors and everything else, and all the great things that they are doing. But I just wanted to give a couple of shout outs. So, of course, Laura's on the left and Shannon Irish is on the right in her Vernon gear. We're all wearing our Vernon gear. But here's some things that are happening. Miss Merck is making masks for our first responders and people who are in the medical field. So she's been working on that all week. It's a great, crazy picture of her. God love her. Mrs. Wyant has been sending out poems. So has Mrs. Yost because it's Poetry Month. So people are getting a poem a day. So I thank them for their poems. With Mrs. Yost, I think she's having the teachers volunteer some of the poems. Maybe Miss Wyant's doing the same thing. I know today's poem was Emily Dickinson, and I thought fondly of the time that I first read that poem as a child. Miss McAloney continues to make videos for the high school. She's churning them out. They are outstanding, and they are a chance for us to take great joy in our teachers, but also with our students as well. High school folks continue to keep it up. It keeps our spirits going and makes us laugh and gives us joy. Miss Bellis was making videos for Rolling Hills that went out this week. A big shout out to her. Thank you very much for doing that. And Miss Davino has been reading at night to students as a bedtime story. Great job, Karen. The families really enjoy listening to the superintendent read. It's like those fireside chats from long ago. Miss Remner. Miss Remner is the head of Sodexo and one of the unsung heroes in the last 4 weeks. Maureen has sat in the lobby of the high school every day, making sure that the lunches get out. She has set up schedules with our drivers to make sure the lunches get out. She has done all the hard work to make sure that the food gets where it needs to be. And she is there every day in the lobby. Thank you, Maureen, for all of your effort. And just a quick shout out to Nancy Frappier as well, who's the secretary up at the high school, and also our RPOs headed by Scott Wallach. Thank you for all of your work. We've had the RPOs there every day. Nancy Frappier is usually there every day. And Scott makes sure that the RPOs are there in case any Chromebooks need to get out or we need chargers or things so that folks can continue to come up to the high school, our one central location that's open from 11 to 1 every day. So thank you to all of those folks. Mrs. Labar and Ms. Windsor sent out a video from Cedar Mountain. That was great. Thank you very much for doing that, Kathy. Appreciate that. And Sarah. And also a Viking video postcard went out from Glen Meadows. So, of course, Ms. Gebhardt, thank you for being the star that you are and all that went on with the postcard. So we're proud of all the things that our people are doing. I don't want to diminish all the important work that happens every day for those 45 minutes or an hour that your child is in the one class with the teacher. Those teachers are doing God's work, making sure that the children get an education. But some of our other folks have stepped outside that role and done some of these other things as well. So I wanted to call attention to them because we get to share in them even more at times. Yesterday, during the board meeting, which was online, I was expressing the fact that the police were looking for places where they could sanitize their masks. And Chief Young had reached out to me and said that he heard that you could use this ionizer cabinet that we have in the different science labs in order to do it and was wondering if we could borrow them. The reason I'm telling you this story is Mrs. Sparta was listening to the Board of Ed meeting, immediately emailed me when I said that and said, there's one in my room. There's also one in the science lab in Lounsbury Hollow. And we were able to quickly get up there today, get those, and the police had them within 12 hours of their request. They're now plugged in at the police station, and they're sanitizing the masks. So thanks. I really appreciate it, Robin, for reaching out to me and letting me know, because those cabinets weren't connected, and it was connected to the wall, so it was easy to get them to the police. But this is a poster from her class. She sent it to me, and I appreciate that. And then there's our message to everybody. This is not over. Stay safe. Stay away from 6 feet away from most people, and keep your family close. And of course, a birthday to remember. I just wanted to point out that some teachers are doing this with their classes, and I can't say enough about that. The idea of a child having a birthday, it will be the birthday that they remember. They'll say, of all the birthdays, do you remember that time during the pandemic? Here are signs from one of our young ladies up at the high school, or I believe 8th grader high school, and thanking, from the high school, exactly, because I got an email from her mom, thanking local businesses for staying open and for being generous. And I thought that was really a great thing. We have to look around and say, thank you very much to everybody. Thank you for being there for us when we need you. So staying strong means giving thanks, appreciating others. It means missing our friends, and it means that hoping all will be well soon. But there's your Vernon Strong in the driveway. What a great tribute to our young people who are telling us to stay strong. I didn't know this was possible. They did an Easter egg hunt online, virtually. This was in Walnut Ridge, and I really appreciate the fact that this could actually happen. So I think it was Walnut Ridge. It might have been Cedar Mountain, but this was a real crack up this week. I think that was on Monday or Tuesday. Fun to share that. Rolling Hills had their creative week, Spirit Week, and this is Creative Genius Day. This young man created this sculpture out of found wood. It's actually beautiful, young man. Congratulations. I hope your family cherishes that. And there's our young lady. Look at that shirt. Writing my own story. If ever there was a time to write our own story, children, it's right now. What do you remember about this era? Record it for your family's keepsake, and then you can look back 10 years from now or 20 years from now and say, I remember when. And of course, she's reading Pete the Cat, which is a great book. So congratulations. Great stuff. Pajama Day at Rolling Hills. Aren't we all now in our pajamas? I was sort of wondering that as I was looking through the pictures that Dr. Stumper had sent to me. My goodness gracious, I think that an entire town at times, if they're lucky enough to not have to go to work, are home in their pajamas. Although not the high school people. This is our high school staff, and they were rocking their favorite sweatshirts. So wonderful look at high school folks who were doing their thing at home with their high school, with the sweatshirts on, Vernon Strong. Miss Stokel at Walnut Ridge actually had a virtual scavenger hunt, and she created binoculars with paper tubes from towel dispensers. I'm sure there's plenty of paper tubes around the last couple of weeks, but of course she gave instructions to the students on how to do that. And from all accounts, it was very successful. So congratulations, Karen. Nice job with that. In Walnut Ridge's outreach video, Miss LaBar put this together, and this is what I was talking about before. This was Cedar Mountain's outreach. In Cedar Mountain's outreach video, Miss LaBar put this together, and what she did was she asked everybody to do a slide of their family. And this is, of course, Miss LaBar's family. And we're all together. We're all staying close. And sometimes that's great. Sometimes that's tough. But it's a nice shot of the family staying together. And thanks, Kath, for the video. Mrs. Van Barkum put this out this week, the idea of honoring the senior class. It's a great poster. I believe if you reach out to her, we can get copies of this. I'm not sure if they're for sale or how it works. I'm sure there's something involved with that, but these are great posters that we can post around town about our senior class and all that they're going through being seniors. And of course, we want to continue to support them because we love and care for them and know that the future is bright. One of the last slides I wanted to show you was some of our children who are thanking the brave people who are helping us right now. I know that you've seen pictures from all over of people banging pots and clapping as nurses and doctors go in for their shift at the hospital, or for people that have survived coronavirus who are in the medical field and coming back out. And I know that we've even seen parades to celebrate those people, but here's some great pictures from our kids talking about how important it is to support their superheroes, whether it's nurses, doctors, UPS drivers, and police. And I would add, although we're all behind screens, our teachers as well. They are my heroes for all the hard work that they do. So we find ourselves in this blessed time. I wanted to show you this picture because I took this picture from the front doors of the high school one evening, and it's looking out over the mountains of Vernon. And there's no more beautiful town than Vernon at sunset, especially up by the high school. And now that last night was Passover, and I hope that all of our Jewish families enjoyed the Seder any way that they could, whether it was remotely with family members or directly with their direct families. Our thoughts are with you as we move through this difficult season. And then for our families, our Christian families, Easter, which comes on Sunday, and all that you celebrate, either remotely with your families or directly with the families that are living with you. These are holidays that are about survival and about rebirth. And I think it's really important to think about those things as we go through this. We need to be joyful about our survival and also about the fact that it will get better and things will be better and we'll all be better in a short amount of time, hopefully. So I wish you peace. I hope that you are well, and I will stay in touch. We will stay in touch to make sure that you are with us in the education system. So to all of you, have a great 4 days. We'll miss you, and we'll see you on Tuesday.